Quite simply, Moat's an analytics company, and we help marketers and we help publishers, and we help both sides make sense of what we call attention. And attention is, in the end of the day, what every marketer is after and what we think every publisher sells. And so part of attention means measuring viewability, means measuring that you're in a safe environment, means measuring things like non-human traffic. But in the end of the day, we're focused on helping marketers successfully do brand advertising in digital, which we think is the important goal for everybody.
So now you are working with marketers, and also you're going to the ANA this week. A lot of conversation about viewability. The marketers are very concerned about it, rightfully so. What do you do for marketers? Give us some examples of kind of the work you're doing and kind of what their attitude and their needs are.
Yeah, so I mean, we work with some of the biggest marketers in the world, so companies like Unilever, Nestle, and lots of others. And I think from a marketer perspective, this is about, first of all, buying ads that are possible to be seen by a human being. And it really is that simple. Viewability is not a KPI in the end of the day. It's a baseline. It's about knowing that you're reaching somebody with an opportunity to see. After you hit that place, it's about focusing on effectiveness. It's about understanding how do you measure what's actually driving sales. And at the end of the day, for most brand marketers, we have to remember that most of their sales come offline. 93% of all retail still comes offline in 2015. And so for the Unilevers and the Nestles of the world, and by the way, most other big brand marketers, they're transacting in the offline world while all their consumers are spending their lives in digital. And so thinking about how to bring those two worlds together, how to close the measurement gap, if you will, is something we spend a lot of time at Moat.
So give us your viewpoint on viewability around video, how much is viewed, how much isn't, and also how that affects pricing.
Yeah, so look, first of all, the numbers on video for viewability are pretty simple. About 56% as of Q2 of videos meet the MRC threshold, which is half the video on the screen for at least 2 seconds. So pretty minimal but straightforward definition. So about half of videos meet that, about half of videos don't. Keeping in mind that video is approximately 5 times more expensive than display, that's a really big deal, which means if you're a marketer, if you're a brand marketer and you're buying video, you have to know that you're actually reaching people who have a chance to see your video, number one. But number two, you really need to go beyond viewability and measure attention, measure the idea that somebody actually not just had a chance to see it, but I want to know that they saw it. I want to know that they were impacted by it, that they were engaged by it, and that's really the key in the end of the day.
So how does that work in the equation of negotiation between the publisher and the advertiser?
Yeah, well, I think the currency is about viewability. I think the currency is, I want to transact on ads that are showed to a human being who had a chance to see them. I think KPIs, the key performance indicators, the way that a marketer makes decisions about how to allocate money is starting to happen based on metrics that go beyond viewability. So when you have a publisher that's able to deliver a high quality experience that a marketer can see with clear, transparent metrics is outperforming other options, they allocate more money to those publishers. And so at Moat, we're really focused on how do we get the right measurement in place, how do we give marketers the tools to make smarter decisions, and we think viewability is the baseline but not the end goal.
So, okay, who are the bad actors? Who's blocking, who's creating this problem with viewability? What's going on, and where does it stand in terms of it being cleaned up, perhaps?
Yeah, well, so first of all, there are two sort of parts of this. There certainly are bad actors, and we can talk about that in a second, but most folks in our industry are not bad actors. Most folks have set up their websites 15, 10, 5 years ago and never anticipated what happened, which was an iteration, an evolution to the point where we're at, where you have lots of ads on the page, lots of content, all competing for the person's attention. It wasn't that somebody sat down and said, I'm going to design the web that way. In fact, the web wasn't designed. In the 17 years or so that I've been involved in this market, it's been iterative. It's been an evolution. And so I think we have to recognize that, okay, we didn't design it that way. We now have an opportunity to step back and redesign the consumer experience. And I think publishers are doing that. Smart publishers are making a decision that we're going to put a better experience in front of the consumer and ultimately try to drive more marketing dollars as a result. On the true bad actor side, there are folks that are profiting from so-called ad fraud or non-human or invalid traffic. And I think it's a real issue. I think the reality is that we've set up an industry has a tremendous amount of money flowing through it, something like $100 billion globally in digital advertising. And so there's an appetite for bad actors to come in and take a chunk of that. So I think for the rest of us, for the 99% of us that are good actors, that are trying to do the right thing for the industry, we have to be diligent. We have to say we're not gonna allow that to happen as best we can. There'll never be a time when we have absolutely zero problems and absolutely zero fraud, and in no other industry, credit cards or otherwise, does that exist. But we can do our part to try to make the market and make the industry a little bit better, and I think that's what all of us are trying to do.
Do you want to tell us about your work with Twitter, Facebook, some of the new projects you have going on?
Absolutely. So we are thrilled that Twitter announced that they're going to do third-party measurement with Moat, and just a couple of weeks ago, Facebook announced that they chose Moat as their partner for third-party viewability measurement and beyond. And we think it's huge. I mean, obviously, Facebook is the largest app in the world, one of the largest platforms in the world, certainly by audience, has more people than any other platform in the world. And so from our perspective, working with them to implement what I think is critical for marketers, which is independent measurement of analytics on Facebook, is absolutely a huge step forward for Moat, and frankly, it's something that we're really proud of.
Let's talk about TV and video for a moment. First of all, you guys are doing a lot of work in programmatic video. You're become a currency for companies like Brightroll and others. Tell us kind of what your role is in this sort of programmatic ecosystem and the role that you play.
So we're a measurement company and an analytics company, and that applies to everything. So whether it's a direct buy or a programmatic buy, from our perspective, everything that can be automated will be automated. But the conversation, I think, needs to be less about the mechanics of that automation and more about the effectiveness of what a marketer is doing. And so at Moat, yes, we measure programmatic, we measure direct deals, we measure connected TV and other devices. We measure anywhere that we can that the consumer is. But the key is helping understand what's actually driving success and not focusing as much on just the mechanics of how ad inventory is traded, and more so focused on effectiveness of whether a marketer's program is working or not.
Well, so digging a little bit more into programmatic video, and you guys are involved with that, what are some of the key factors that are driving that or holding it back, and where do you play in that?
Sure, so I think there's first of all, a massive amount of demand for video, whether it's programmatic or not. In programmatic video, we had announced a partnership a little ways back with Brightroll, which was that Moat would power viewability on every Brightroll impression. That's a big deal. That means that if you transact on Brightroll, you get Moat viewability data for free as part of that transaction. That level of transparency has led to higher CPMs on more highly viewable inventory and lower CPMs on less viewable inventory. And that's a trend that we're seeing specifically in programmatic video. I think there's a challenge in that there's been more demand than there has been supply. And so what's happened is that people are creating video inventory, perhaps where none existed previously. And that's led to things like in-banner video. It's led to some of the challenges that we're facing today in programmatic video around different levels of quality in video experiences.
And finally, Jonah, talk about mobile a little bit, what you guys are doing, if and kind of where the whole currency fits into the mobile scenario.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, for the last 5 or 6 years, we've been saying this is the year of mobile. Good news, it actually happened. We're there. The first thing all of us do when we wake up in the morning, for the most part, and go to bed at night, is grab our phone. We do everything mobile first, and I think as an industry, we need to begin thinking about the world as mobile first. So from Moat's perspective, we've embraced mobile at scale. We do a massive amount of measurement in mobile. Facebook obviously is a mobile first platform, and the fact that we've announced that we're going to measure Facebook at scale is a pretty big deal in the mobile world. I think we have a similar set of challenges in mobile that we do in other parts of the world. They're different because the medium's different, so we have a smaller screen to deal with. We have technological challenges in terms of getting integrations done at scale. But in the end of the day, what a marketer cares about is, was I able to successfully tell a story? Was I able to successfully reach the audience that I wanted to reach? And did it impact them? Did it lead to the outcome that I wanted? And whether that's in mobile or on an Xbox or on a connected device or on a desktop computer, it's the same goal from every marketer. And we're focused at Moat on how do we help them achieve that goal.